All right, kids, quiet down, quiet down, quiet down. Everyone, hold your horses. In today's course, we are learning how to kill a franchise.
So that's how it ends. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ritual Chamber. I am Josh, this is Jeff, and today we are going to discuss Halloween Ends. And ends indeed it does.
Ends indeed it does.
So why don't you go ahead and get into the synopsis of this fine piece of cinema.
4 years have passed since Michael Myers terrorized the small town of Haddonfield and disappeared. As the community heals from the events, Laurie Strode and her granddaughter Allison are trying to find a sense of normalcy while still coping with their own losses. But events are set in motion to bring Michael Myers back out of hiding and set the stage for a final confrontation once and for all.
All right, good. Halloween Ends. So do we want to kind of start off with just talking about the franchise, I guess?
Oh, yeah.
In total, right? Best way to do it is this is the end of it, right? It's
the end, and hopefully the end. I'm done. We're done. We're done. You can't do this right. We're done.
You don't want to see any reboots.
I mean, they're going to do it. Malik Akkad, because his father, or I don't know if his father, but Mustafa Akkad was kind of the show, he was the Kevin Feige of the Halloween verse. But, you know, and I said it, I think I said it before in our Halloween Kills video, is the Halloween franchise has never really been one of my favorites. I think John Carpenter came up with a really interesting idea, but John Carpenter's idea was one film. He was forced to write two, and he did not want to do it. And then Mustafa Akkad and the other producers thought that they would just do it an anthology type film. That's why we have Halloween 3, which completely doesn't have Michael Myers in it. And then ever since, it's literally, I mean, why do another reboot? This is the fourth reboot. Fifth reboot, actually, technically. Because the only films in this series that connect are 1 and 2. They connect to each other. 4, 5, and 6 connect to each other. H2O Resurrections connect to each other. Then you have the Rob Zombie remakes. And now this trilogy connects to each other, but in the loosest way. Yeah. I mean, even this trilogy, and I was really high on the 2018 one, and then Halloween Kills I loved because I'm a gore hound. Love a high body count. And this one was I'm just hoping it was the final nail in the coffin because they just don't. I don't think they know what to do with this. Yeah,
I think with the narrative with this one and Halloween Kills, tries to get a little bit too heavy-handed and a little bit too deep, where it really just takes away from what it should be, which is a horror film.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's deep. Like that's the sad part about it.
It tries to.
You have Laurie Strode accosted on the street about her taunting a mentally handicapped man into a killing spree. That's not what happened. So what the hell? Well, and then that kind of plays. And also, she's the only one of you guys that fought him and lived.
Yeah, but that's what kind of plays into the narrative, especially for this film. The last one kind of tries to pull more into society and how society reacts in the face of evil and how.
And I think in Halloween Kills that is done expertly.
I agree to disagree, but in this one it was done very poorly. Very poorly. And I just think the overall feel for this movie, it started off and I thought the opening sequence was pretty strong. I liked it. I liked that it was something a little bit different than just having the Shape or Michael Myers appear instantly. Yeah. You got the jump scares and kind of the expectation that he might be lurking around the corner somewhere. To not have that happen and to introduce
have it be a completely unrelated thing, which a voiceover is given right after that, which makes it work.
Exactly.
But anyways, fuck that kid. That kid needed to go. That Jeremy kid was a little prick, and he needed to go. He got what was coming to him.
But the intro really does set the stage for this movie. But not what I was expecting it to be. And again, from there, the way that it goes, completely unexpected, and I just don't feel like it really worked for me that well, to be honest.
My biggest problem with this film is that it spoilers, obviously. It continued, it redid two tropes from two separate franchises that people fucking hate. One is from Halloween and one is from Friday the 13th. The first one is the thorn symbol from Halloween's 5 and 6. I believe that's correct. The Thorn cult symbol transference of power thing, which is bullshit. Which is bullshit. And everyone who's even a fan of the Halloween movies, even if you like those movies as a fun romp, hates that. And then the other one is the trope from Friday the 13th 5. Sorry, I'm like Halloween 5, where it's a fucking copycat killer. Because that's what this movie is. I said in the synopsis setting, events unfold to set up final confrontation, but Michael Myers is like not even in this movie.
Yeah,
he's in it for 5 fucking seconds.
And getting into the characters of this movie, right? Like, so obviously we have Jamie Lee Curtis reprise her role as Laurie Strode. She has like found herself and kind of come to comfort with the terms of like living in fear, facing her demons again. Part of that deep story that it tries to tell.
Which I'll get into a lot later.
But at this point, she's living with Allison.
Yeah.
They've moved into a house together.
Because Allison lost her parents in Halloween Kills.
And so...
actually, did her dad die in Halloween? In the first one?
I don't know. I can't remember.
That's right. Her dad died in the first one. And then her mom died in the second one.
Yeah. And so then we get... Rohan Campbell, who plays Corey, who we get introduced to at the very beginning of this movie. And as you said, copycat killer, here he comes. Corey's kind of a loser trying to get his life resettled after the events of killing Jeremy.
But that's the thing,
right?
He's not even a loser. He accidentally killed a kid, which in a small town, word travels fast.
He's considered a loser because he's kind of outcast.
He's outcast.
He is outcast.
I mean, his bullies are the marching band.
I know. Like, a kid carrying around a drumstick the entire time.
No, they were literally the marching band. They say when they were introduced, they're the marching band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're in the marching band.
Oh, wow,
And they're like, they're totally stereotypical one note, just... dick kids. He's like 22 or 23 or something.
Yeah.
And they're like 17 years old. just bullying this
just bullying this kid, which is ridiculous. But which leads him to having a confrontation with Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Not the confrontation I think that we were expecting.
No, it shows in the trailer.
It was more actually him, I guess, assuming some transfer of power by looking into his eyes and then becoming the copycat killer.
I slightly get because of the whole Dr. Loomis. He had the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I get that, but I just really don't like. I just really don't enjoy the, I looked into his eyes and it now made me crazy because the kid's not crazy. He's just sort of like he's broken.
Yeah,
he's clearly emotionally damaged, rightfully so. And he's just a little shy. No, not a little shy. He's a lot shy.
Yeah.
And that goes into, just his interactions with Allison, which is, like, Allison's immediately thirsty for him.
Yeah.
Which I don't get. Like, it's not really even well done. It's like a love story that, I've always harped on, like, forced love stories. Don't fucking force a love story. Like, don't force this, like, we're connected for... no reason whatsoever.
Some kind of trauma bond or something.
Yeah, trauma bond. But I mean, again, like I think she does later say that like she knew who he was, so that's probably why. That's probably why she got a little bit like felt a little something for him on initial meeting. But like they had just met and like she's thirsty. I mean, they say there's a party that she does not want to go to. She's very adamant she doesn't want to go to. Sets one fucking eye on this kid and is like, I want to go to this party, and I want you to go with me.
Yeah, and I think that's a thing with this movie, kind of the timeline of events and how fast everything unfolds.
I don't think it unfolds fast at all. I mean, there's so many riding on the back of the motorcycle scenes, way too many to count. Like Top Gun doesn't even have enough of those.
But
here's like David Green. You're much better director of this. Where you didn't need 9 shots of them riding down the road on.
No, you didn't. And an interesting thing that I thought about this movie as I was watching it was obviously it's Halloween, right? And so it's supposed to take place during Halloween. We don't really see a whole lot of Halloween kind of events going on in this.
It's never outwardly said that it's Halloween time.
There's nobody really celebrating other than when they go to the bar. Is like the really only time that you kind of get the sense of some kind of Halloween party or events going on. So
maybe that was Halloween night. Maybe I don't really know. It's a costume party, but you can throw a costume party any time of the year.
Exactly.
It's never outwardly said that it is Halloween.
So yeah, I think just silly with again the kind of the direction that this went and the timeline and the feel of it was very off for me, at least.
Yeah, and it like again, there's a voiceover in the beginning that discusses how people of Haddonfield have dealt with what happened at the end of Kills, which, if you recall, Michael basically slaughters a shit ton of the town at the end of that movie, and it's never. I don't know. It's funny because it's never really made quite clear if that is if that was real or not real. I mean, even same thing with Judy Greer's death, Laurie's daughter, whose name is now escaping me. I remember her actual name, her real life name. I can't remember her character's name. That is even almost like not in the film. It doesn't seem like it really happened.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. The way that movie ends, it is sort of dream sequency because it's happening under a voiceover from Laurie. And so anyway, that being said, what I was saying was that
just consider 4 years have passed.
No, yeah, 4 years have passed, but people have been dealing with it. Like Michael's been gone, but people have committed suicide fairly regularly.
They do this kind of Gotham's in disarray.
Yeah.
After the events of some villain.
Yeah. So. And there's just a lot in this film that I feel is dragged out a lot, and that was an interesting aspect that I actually thought that made the intro work, because I was like a lot of this movie I was kind of like, what is this movie? Where is it going?
Yeah, I felt that way too. I mean,
especially I feel it felt like it took 40 minutes for Michael Myers to ever show up.
And that was one thing with this movie, like that you said, that I felt the same way too. It kind of felt like it was done by two different directors, or maybe they had two different scripts and they kind of just mashed them together, and they were like, well, let's throw the papers in the air, let's see where they land, and we'll just kind of go with that.
It's funny you say that, because when David Gordon Green and Danny McBride first wrote the first one and Kills, they had actually initially planned it to only be 2 movies. Mm-hmm. And then they just kind of realized, well, we have more material. And that's kind of what this movie ends up feeling like. It feels like a stretched out idea more than a concrete story.
Mm-hmm. Hence all the motorcycle scenes.
Hence all the motorcycle scenes. And all of the two lovers wistfully looking in each other's eyes and telling them, we need to get out of this small town.
Yeah.
These 2 people who just met. And yeah, like you even said, like the timing and the span of time is it like a couple months? Is it like how long are they, like, have they been dating and kind of whatever it is they're doing? But yeah, that was a weird little fact I found out. They just had so much more material to work with, and I feel like they pushed a lot of it into Kills, and then didn't have anything left to put into this movie.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And it was funny because another thing I noticed too was that the Halloween theme is hardly in the movie.
Yeah,
it was like opening credits.
Opening credits,
and
then,
yeah. Doesn't come back until Michael finally does come back.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Michael, though, because we do get introduced into him. He does get introduced in the movie. Obviously, everybody knew that was going to happen.
I do.
And one thing with Michael,
otherwise you just have Halloween 3 again.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's really like what I thought about this as it started to kind of unfold. And that was an interesting thing that I kind of thought, because when Corey actually has the interaction with Michael, I was kind of thinking, is this like a manifestation? Did he maybe come across his dead body and now he's manifested this idea that he is Michael, which I thought would have kind of been, wasn't my favorite direction if they decided to go in that direction. But I was like, okay, that makes a little sense. They might just be going with this idea that he has now assumed this role because of the trauma that he's dealt with, because what he's kind of dealing with.
Yeah, and it would kind of
sees this figure
actually,
and
it's funny. Now
takes that.
You say that, it actually is funny, because that actually would be almost an inverse of the thing that happened in Kills, where yes, anybody could be evil.
Yes,
and anybody could go evil or snap at any time, which is kind of what they do. Yeah, but because Michael's there,
it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because Michael's there. That's the problem with it.
And not to mention, well, I mean, it kind of does, because Michael damn near kills no one in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's funny because if
a really buff redhead.
Yeah. Yeah. Muscly redhead. That's right. She is like the only one he kills. But that would have been a cool, like, little inverse of what they were basically saying in Halloween Kills, that anything could be perceived evil, but also anything could be evil.
Yeah.
With Corey being evil due to what happened to him. But the problem with that is, though, you sold this movie on it being the final bout between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. Like, title fight. Like, don't give me,
Clegane Bowl.
Yeah, Clegane Bowl. Like, don't give me the undercard. Don't give me the undercard for an hour and a half.
Exactly, right? And then it comes in. The title fight is a first round knockout.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Literally, that's what this is. It's like it's paying for pay-per-view for one match, right?
And the
undercard goes on, like the undercard's just fight, and then Tyson just comes and knocks the dude out.
Yeah, and it really, and I think that's just where this really fell flat. I mean, we get a lot of Corey, and Corey does have some good kills in this. There are some that I think are fun. Obviously, he gets his revenge on the marching band, and I think that's good.
That actually is one of the best. Okay. I'm glad you brought that up, my good friend. Okay, so Corey works in a junkyard, and it keeps showing this metal shredder, like a junk shredder for metal, like in car pieces and stuff. And I'm like, ooh, someone's going in there. And I'm finally like, Corey acting as Michael gets his they get their comeuppance. He gets his revenge. Yes. Thank you. Or no, I almost said he got his comeuppance, but no, he gets his revenge on the marching band. So again, why? Like, how is he bullied by the marching band? Not only that, he's bullied by only like really one or two of the marching band people. One's just sort of like the mouthpiece, and the other one's in the back going, "Come on, guys, let's go." Like all sympathetic, still gets fucking murked, which fine, whatever, innocent bystander, but also complicit. But so like I'm like, oh yeah, here's gonna happen. One of those fuckers are going in that goddamn grinder. No. I mean, like, they're not great kills. One gets killed off screen. Mm-hmm. The fucking another one. And the other, actually, two of them get killed off screen. One gets run over, but then trapped by a fence. Mm-hmm. And then the fucking mouthy dude gets a welding torch straight to the mouth.
But the one that we did have that was fun here was WURP. The radio station,
that was also another annoying thing that kind of akin to the motorcycle riding scenes, is the constant like interjections of this radio DJ. Like everyone in the town just listen to this guy, and none of them like him. No one likes him.
No one likes him, but he's just enticing people,
and he's always on the radio.
Yeah. But,
on every single radio in town,
and he does get his, and that one is kind of fun, especially at the end when you see his tongue get cut off, and it's on the turntable, and it's skipping. That
one's good.
And we see Allison actually listening to the radio station,
wondering why
it's skipping. That one kind of fun.
Yeah, and just touching back on Laurie again. Laurie's a badass. I mean, Jamie fucking Lee Curtis, man.
Yeah,
and. She sort of plays like detective in this. She sort of plays Batman.
Yeah.
She plays Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
She's just going around kind of getting information. Mm-hmm. And at first, she's kind of very. She's on Corey's side.
She is. Yeah.
She thinks he's a good dude. And then starts noticing things, and that was kind of another thing. It was just sort of like, oh, you're noticing things about that you recognize from Michael because of that one night. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of problems that I'll save for my monkeys that kind of just don't work plot wise, or just don't really make sense. It kind of akin to my argument about how the Halloween reboot, in and of itself, that kind of continue on through this. So there's sort of some weird plot details, and maybe the pandemic, affected it in a lot of ways. I mean, I know they were initially going to film Halloween, the 2018 when Halloween Kills back to back. Mm-hmm. But then they decided not to because they wanted to see how the Halloween reboot would do, or what do we call it? C-boot? Thank you.
C-boot.
Patent pending. And then this one again, I think there's just some ideas stretched out that I don't think they really had a plan for, and I'll touch on a little when I'll save that for my monkeys, but the specific ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, wasn't completely fleshed out with this.
No. And then she finally does get a confrontation with Michael again after she kills the fuck out of Corey.
Well, actually, Michael kills Corey. Really,
right.
He gets shot, and then he.
That was a badass scene though. When you think Laurie's gonna kill herself.
Yes,
and she just shot the pumpkin.
I actually really liked that too. I thought that was really clever, and it wasn't. Yeah. It really one of the few scenes in this that kind of like caught me by surprise. Because you hear
they're really setting it up. Like
and well, I mean, and not only that, but I mean, you get this kind of idea that she's really beaten down from the events of this movie.
Yeah.
and Allison leaving and everything. So you actually kind of consider the fact that this might actually be happening. And when it unfolds, I mean, I remember being like, oh my gosh, what?
Yeah.
Why they're doing this right now?
I honestly, I gotta say though, I honestly wouldn't have been surprised given how the movie had been going at that point. Because I mean, even though you saw in the trailer them fighting, her fighting Michael Myers, but that at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but who knows? That could be stock beef footage from something else that they shot. Like who?
Exactly.
With the way this movie's going,
yeah, and
it's kind of like you with Thor and Love and Thunder.
All
Like,
the time.
I kind of half the time I was like, did I walk into the wrong movie?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But we do finally get an actual showdown between Laurie and Michael Myers, the final bout.
Yeah,
the final round.
Yeah,
and Mike was tired. Mike had been fighting, and he's tired.
Yeah, and that was the thing, you know.
He gets his ass kicked by a 78-year-old woman.
Kind of interesting about this movie, though, in the final battle. I mean, you get the sense that Michael's tired anyway because Corey kind of is overpowering him throughout the movie.
Because you almost kind of like again, like you almost a Freddy thing. Like it was like he was feeding him souls.
Yeah,
like he was too weak to fight him off. Fight off the hobo. In the sewer, and then he finally gets him. He holds him down. He holds down the hobo for Michael to kill him, and then he stands up straight. Was it the cop?
It's the cop.
Oh, it's the cop. Yeah,
yeah.
It was the cop.
Holds him down, and and then as he's stabbing him, you could kind of see him
his head comes back up.
Yeah, get this kind of power, but. So we do get the final battle, and it is that. I mean, Michael looks tired. It's very quick. The final battle is quick. Michael basically gets pinned to an island, and
a fridge dropped on him.
And a fridge dropped on him, and
again from a 70-year-old woman.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, that's basically. Yeah. And then one thing. I just didn't.
But that was a rad scene too because of how fucking bloody it was.
No, it was very.
They cut open his wrist. They slit his throat.
It was very
stabs him directly in the side.
And it was very hard to watch for me because it was just. It wasn't like it was like fast. Yeah. It was like slow, and it was like you could hear the skin tearing. I mean, was a little heavy for me. But
I mean, I've known you 20 years, man. Like. I know you in the thing with blood. So
yeah,
like, when he ripped his hand out of that knife.
Oh my gosh!
I was sitting next to him, and Michael has his hand pinned with a knife, and he rips it out, and Josh goes, "Whoa!"
Yeah. But one thing that I don't like about this, I mean, after we get this whole thing, obviously, and they decide they have to fully dispose of him because they realize at this point.
But we finally got the metal shredder.
Nothing else works, and this is where we do see the metal shredder.
Finally.
With this one, with this Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills, at the end of it, they bring the town in, and I just think it's so like everybody in the town again just stops whatever they're doing. Like somebody calls everybody out. The radio DJ's dead at this point, so we know it's not him. So
the one radio DJ.
Yeah, the one. So we don't know where this comes, why this happens, but the whole town comes out at this as if it's like the Macy's Day Parade. Crowd surf Michael Myers up to Laurie's throat to throw his body into this metal shredder. I don't get it.
I don't know. I'm kind of for it because I like the funeral procession aspect of it, where like the cops are like, no, we're all making sure that we're taking them there. We're destroying the body. We're making sure this is it. This is the only way it's got to be done. Like the one sheriff from the last film comes in. The deputy Frank is back. I mean, him and Laurie have a whole other like kind of love story, which we knew they were in love in the last ones, but it's not a big thing. But they all come back, and all the cops come, and they basically do a giant funeral procession to the junkyard to dispose of the body.
And really uneventful though. They just tossed it in, and that was it.
Michael should have pulled Laurie in, just saying.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen, and it didn't.
I totally thought that was going to happen.
So, I mean, the last thing that I kind of want to touch on, I think, before we get into the monkeys here, there is an interesting kind of thing that I felt at the end of this movie that I thought would be nice to touch on.
Okay.
When Laurie does kill Michael.
Yeah.
He does the gaze. They have the gaze. She recalls all of her events from all the movies up until this point. And Michael bites it. And as he's dying, they're holding hands. And the touch that they have as Michael's dead between Laurie's hand leaving his hand is almost like an intimate touch, like something that you would share with like a loved one.
For sure.
Like they had this really strong connection throughout this time that it was almost, it was kind of interesting.
I wouldn't put it that way. It was a showing of Laurie finally actually being able to let go, because they talk about in the voiceover in the intro of this film that she's tried to let go, she tried to move on, she had closed herself off from life for those 40 years and is now trying to make things better now that Michael has disappeared again. And I think that what it is she can actually let go. I mean, even though she's kind of become a little bit of a Susie homemaker grandmother, she clearly has been ready. She's had her plan.
Absolutely.
When she goes, "Did you honestly think I'd kill myself?" And shoots Corey a couple times.
But I think an interesting thing to explore with this is that obviously that happens, and then at the very end of the film, we see all these shots of blank rooms, and then we see the mask on the table. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting. If maybe that evil, did maybe go into Laurie, maybe something that they could explore later, because it would be great for me to see this franchise not just end with Michael having to die, but Laurie as well as being just part of this connected being to this evil.
Yeah, but they already killed her in Resurrection, so.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And besides, just real quick again, one more thing before we get into Monkeys. Out of all the classic horror films, this has been the longest ongoing, and they just never been able to get it right. I mean, this one has 13 films. Friday has 9. I'm sorry, Friday the 13th has 12. Nightmare on Elm Street has 9. Hellraiser has 11. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 9, and most of those are all remakes and reboots anyway.
Yeah.
Saw 9, Child's Play 8. This one has 13. But again, as I said earlier, none of them connect, or one or two of them connect, but there's 4 reboots in this. And it's tired. They don't know what to do with it. And maybe one day when, because it's going to happen, it's inevitable. One day a lot of the slashers are going to come back, and we'll get a bunch more remakes and reboots and stuff like that. And maybe then we'll be actually ready for them. Maybe there'll be a new audience that's ready for them. Right now is not the time, and we don't have writers who seem to understand that. They love it, and I understand that they love it, and I see that they love it. But they don't understand how to write it properly, like John Carpenter and Deborah Hill did back in 1978. Or
absolutely.
Wes Craven did, or Sean Cunningham and the masters of horror from back then, George A. Romero. They're copying their idols and not paying them justice. And with that being said, here are our Monkeys.
Yeah, but as you said that, I was just thinking of another person who's very infamous for that, J.J. Abrams.
You're not wrong. So you're 100% not wrong.
With that being said, Monkeys.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Monkeys. No, I know. Someone might disagree with me, but I'm telling you right now, episode 6 and episode 7.
Shut up.
Anyway, Monkeys, 12 Monkeys. I'm going to go ahead and give Halloween Ends. And hopefully the last time I have to rate a Halloween franchise movie for some time.
Oh no, we might just do the franchise. We did talk about doing that.
I'm gonna give this one a 4.
Okay.
There were some aspects of it that worked for me. I did really enjoy the intro. I really liked that difference. I liked kind of setting the stage, and you really have this tension building. Thinking that Michael's going to come out. It's been 4 years. Why is he coming back? How is he going to come back? I love that. And then only to find that this kid dies not by Michael's hands. And that also Corey doesn't die by Michael's hands, which is what I totally was going to thought was going to happen. And it didn't. So I enjoyed that. The rest of this movie for me, I just really could not pinpoint where it was going, why events were happening, what was unfolding. It just was so messy and convoluted. I couldn't really stay focused on it. And when I did find moments where I was focused and I was enjoying it, it instantly changed direction, and I found myself confused again, trying to get on track to see if I could actually enjoy this. So I wasn't a huge fan of it, really. One thing, though, however, that I did like in this movie was the soundtrack. They threw out some good songs in there. They had some by the Dead Kennedys. They had the Cramps. So, a soundtrack I thought was very fun. I thought it kind of just added like a different, dimension to this movie to me, that it was cool to see that those kind of bands, and that music be brought into this.
I mean, punk rock is always
and punk rock is just, it's enjoyable. It's like what I grew up listening to.
I mean, we literally have Return of the Living Dead going on over
so
here.
It was great to hear those in the soundtrack for this, and that was one thing that I enjoyed. Couple of the kills, but overall for me, 4 out of 12. This one did just not land for me at all.
I'll go 3 out of 12. 3 out of 12 monkeys. It's the final nail in the Halloween franchise. I've pretty much said my piece here. One thing again, I think I already mentioned it. I can't remember, but the Halloween theme is only played in the intro and then never again until Michael Myers, which is cool. It's subversion, and like you kind of hinting you that like you're not getting Michael yet. I think for the most part the acting is really strong. Especially Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously.
Yeah.
Will Patton is amazing. He's just been in a million things, and he always is great in everything he's in. One of my favorite roles of him is actually The Postman with Kevin Costner. Great movie.
Yeah, good movie.
Andy Matichak, she's good, but like again, she's just so the problem with her character arc is in the movie is just, I'm the girl who's in love with this guy, and I will literally follow him everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the warning signs that this dude's fucking crazy. And even from like the first get-go, it just was, I don't know. I spent the entire movie just not knowing where this movie was going, and I like having my expectations subverted to a degree. Like I like being surprised. This wasn't a surprise. It was just boredom, and then finally getting what I knew I was getting anyway. I don't know. I don't even know how to really describe it. Like describe the feeling, because we talked about all the bike riding, all the motorcycle riding scenes, all the fucking shit with the radio DJ, the hobo, fucking Allison being a dick to Lori for like kind of no reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like it's just, I want them to stop doing Halloween movies, because it's just they don't know what to do with this franchise, and I feel like it was another thing. So like I said earlier, because of the I think Danny McBride, sorry, I'm like kind of stumbling over things right now. Danny McBride and David Gordon Green, I think they had a lot of really interesting ideas that they kind of introduced in each of these 3 films, this trilogy, but they never expanded upon them.
Yeah.
One being, so, I bitched about it in our Halloween Kills video about Lori taking 40 years to deal with this one night. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't track. I get it's traumatizing and PTSD's a motherfucker, but you don't spend 40 years and ruin your entire life over one night that happened, and the guy got locked up. He's locked up. He's been locked up for 40 years. You move on a little bit. Yeah, maybe you have a little bit, but you're not building a murder house or a trap. Yeah. You're not building a trap house. And then you'll fight him and then think you win. He gets back out again. Because, Halloween Kills, they basically take place in like they take place in the same night, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Or same night, next day. And
they do.
Then he disappears again, and she drops her guard. She drops her guard and just becomes Susie Homemaker grandmother. That doesn't play. It doesn't work for Halloween Ends. And then not to mention, in Halloween Kills, they spend a lot of time hypothesizing and wondering what Michael is looking at through the window. And then you never get an actual answer for that. The idea in here, it maybe is that he was looking into his own eyes. Maybe perpetuating the evil within himself. Maybe. But you can't introduce an idea like that. It was like to be like, what was he looking at? No one knows what he was looking at through that window. Give us an answer. Give the audience an answer. Just don't sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
I almost said blow it under the rug.
Yeah.
And that's just sort of it's you just kind of and then everything else in this movie just didn't land. And again, copycat killer and a version of the Thorn thing from parts 5 and 6, which everyone hates. It was 9 kinds of not awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we're done with the Halloween franchise and let it be at rest. Like Michael Myers.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I think we had high expectations for this.
I really did.
We were really excited to see it.
I loved the Halloween reboot 2018, and I loved not the Rob Zombie. I mean, I do love the Rob Zombie one, but I did love the 2018 one. I loved Kills, and this one was just
very, very disappointing. So, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up. So we hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this movie, you probably shouldn't be watching this video. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And we hope you have a good rest of your night. Signing off from the Ritual Chamber. Bye-bye.
do what I do. Listen to me, and then put your thoughts together in the back of your noodle. Get ready. Ready.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm watching this shit because...
Don't watch that.
But then don't put it on. This guy just bit into this guy's head. How am I not going to watch that? Anyway, okay.
I mean, slightly better. Not much better. Slightly better. Put the knife up high. Just... Because I don't want to go crazy and accidentally kill you, Josh. Right, timer. Game if you're bored. It's a board game.
It's the chairman of the board.
Waka waka.
Chairman of the board.
You never heard that song? Iggy Pop, I'm bored. I'm the chairman of the board. You know? All right.
That being said.
Oh, that's right. They start turning.
Yeah, into werewolves. Because they're fucking werewolves.
All the girls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot werewolves.
Anapa Queen and her brood.
Pack.
Huh?
Pack.
Oh, I suppose it would be a pack, yes.
Lady.
Oh, that was...
A lady pack.
Is it the lighting? Or do I have a lazy eye?
I don't know.
Do you see it? Does it look... Am I the only one who sees it?
I mean, it's not that your eye looks lazy. It looks more like your eyebrow is lazy.
But is it the lighting? Or do I have a lazy eye?
It's not a lazy eye. I think you just have a lazy eyebrow. I think you're just tired. Welcome to class, kids. Here we are just... I should have planned out what I was going to say first, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Makes better.
Oh, yeah. Flip it into it.
From off screen. And I'll even do the point.
Yes.
All right. I like it.
All right, cool.
Gotta make sure I don't, fucking chop the paper on the way down.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that sharp?
It's probably pretty sharp. Want to check?
No.
Outtake, see. As I wave around a knife.
Yeah. That's not dangerous.
I'm crazy!